What's going on, guys? Trying a new video series of what I believe CrossFit, where we're headed as a sport, as a community, as the games evolve, like every sport evolves, how we better train for the sport that we love. So inside the CrossFit space, there's a lot of, back and forth of whether or not the programming is good, bad, whether you're indifferent to it. And so what I figured we'd do is just have a conversation about how, regardless of how you feel about it, if you want to be involved in the sport of CrossFit, how you need to start adapting your training to where the sport is headed. So in the past, there was always, very simple movements to start the open, and then as the open progressed, the moves become more complex, the weights become heavier, and we all kind of got in this state of just lackadaisy attitude where we only wanted to stick to that progression of training. So now as the sport progresses with new programmers and more of a team involved in the programming, the workouts have changed dramatically from that initial aspect that kind of brought a lot of us into the sport to begin with. So now we have to adapt our training to this new style of programming. And you see that with the open, you see that with quarterfinals, and now you see the same thing with semifinals. And one thing that I think a lot of people need to kind of back away from if you want to stay with the sport is not going away from the 1 rep max heavy workouts and more of a work capacity based training program. So what I mean by that is not necessarily training for a 1 rep max snatch, 1 rep max clean and jerk. You now need to do a moderate weight snatch, a moderate weight clean and jerk, multiple reps. Okay, so if we are going to evolve with the sport, we have to adapt our training to the sport. And not saying that you don't need to 1 rep max, but inside our competitive training program that we do here, we started to go towards that. So you'll see a lot of that where we 1 rep max, a lot. Very similar to the Bulgarian system where you'll go for a heavy triple or a heavy double, and then we take a light percentage of that and we do for 8 to 12 reps across 3 to 5 sets of that 1 rep max. So for example, we'll go for a 3 rep max overhead squat, then we'll do 3 sets of 8 at 50% of that 3 rep max overhead squat to try to build work capacity across that. As we progress throughout the year, what we're going to see is not necessarily high skill gymnastics, but moderate skill gymnastics such as handstand push-ups, and we're going to do high repetition handstand push-ups along with handstand walks, toes to bar, so large volume sets. In the past, we didn't do that. We did light repetitions of those across 5 to 6 rounds. So now we're going to adapt our training to that. Along with that, we're going to be doing a lot more rowing, a lot more running to try to build the work capacity. You'll see 5 rounds, not necessarily for time, but you'll see 5 rounds, and each round will be for a max sprint effort in an effort to build work capacity across these domains. Again, it's important to understand that, hey, you don't have to agree with the training program. You just have to adapt your training program to what these new programmers, this new team that's running the games, wants in us as programmers, us as athletes. They want to see work capacity, not necessarily heavy weights. So, again, don't necessarily agree with it. You don't have to agree with it. You just have to adapt to the training program. The sport's going to evolve over the next 5 to 10 years, as you're seeing, and we have to adapt our training programs with it. So you can be stubborn and say, I'm still going to train my 1 rep maxes, which is cool, go for it, but it's not necessarily going to help you progress inside the CrossFit space. If you want to do your 1 rep maxes, go for a weightlifting meet, go for a powerlifting meet. But inside the CrossFit space, we got to do light to moderate weight loads across a large volume sets. So that's what I want to see in our training program. That's what we're going to start doing here. And I highly suggest everyone kind of adapt this way. So I'm going to be doing these weekly videos of what I see inside the CrossFit space, inside our training programs, to try to help guide us as we go throughout the year. All right. So let me know in the comment section how you feel, what you're thinking about it, and we'll see you next week.